Hey YouTubers, today's video is going to be about solving a problem I've been having at home, which is my deliveries don't come to the house, or people show up in my house and they don't know that it's my house because I don't have any numbers in front of my house. So basically, I just bought a house. It's a new build, so there's no numbers that came with the house. So I've been walking around the neighborhood, kind of looking at if it's a thing that everyone has that looks all the same, or if everyone kind of just went custom with what they wanted. And I noticed everybody kind of has their own sign. So what I did is went down to Home Depot and got myself some Taymore backlit house numbers. And today's video is going to be about installing those so that my neighbors stop getting all my Uber Eats orders. So here it is. We're going to start with this, and I'm going to walk you through the process of how to install them, as I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there that's going to be wondering how to do this correctly. So here we have the Taymore backlit lights, which come in individual packages. They're about 30 bucks a pop, every number. Some numbers are a bit more expensive than others, and what they do is essentially piggyback right off of one another. And then you have to separately buy this here relay and this here switch, which is kind of a light sensor. So as it sees light or darkness, then it'll allow your lights to turn on like so. So you have to find a source, a power source, which also is sold separately, by the way. So once you have your power source hooked up, if you decide to go with the option where you're not hardwiring and you want this to basically come on when it gets dark outside, you don't want to have to come outside and kind of hook up a switch. What you are going to install is this here switch, which essentially, if I replicate it being dark, then my lights turn on. So this is the equivalent of the sun going down, and it sees no more light, and so boom, there you go. Your sign is now lit on the in front of your house. And the same way, when it starts to have daylight, then it'll turn off. So you don't really have to worry about going out there and hooking up a switch every single time, turning it on and turning it off. Now this right over here is where the sign is gonna go. It's a little windy out here today, so excuse the sound if it's blurring through the speakers. But this is right where the sign is going to go, basically, from top to bottom. And so I have, luckily, a power source right over here. So what I'm going to do is run this wire from here to there and try to hide it as nicely as possible, and just install it on this here beam. And so everyone who drives and comes to visit will be able to see that this is what the address is, and then I can start getting my packages and my food again. So here we're gonna start. Now what you're gonna need to complete this job is a trusted drill, Snap-on, big shout out to Snap-on, a straight edge, which by the way doesn't really explain in the directions, your fasteners. So these fasteners basically are going to thread into the number. This end is going to thread into the number, and this is what you're going to drive into your surface. So obviously beforehand, depending on the surface that you have, you're going to want to install these fasteners, and to do so you're going to have to drill, pre-drill your holes. So they say 5/16. I'd rather have a pilot hole, go a little smaller, because once you got a hole in that column, then obviously there's no coming back from it if you make it too big. A straight, what am I saying here? A leveler, make sure that your lines are straight. And I got a dry eraser to draw my line down, because I'm going to have to put them from top to bottom, because that's all the space I have. So basically I'm going to draw a straight line up and down the column with my trusted dry erase marker over here. And then I'm going to align all my numbers on that line. And so I'll just pre-drill my holes on that line for all my 4 numbers. This is obviously not recommended by the manufacturer, but I just find it helps. So yeah, here we go. So the first thing you want to do is grab your trusted straight edge over here and make sure that you know how much real estate you're going to use. So, for example, each number measures about, let's say, 6 inches, right? So you got 4 numbers. That's 24 inches of space that you're going to need. And obviously you don't want to stick them so close together. So maybe, let's say, 1 inch apart from each other. So you're going to need 28 inches of room so that you can make this installation work. So the first thing you're going to go do is measure and see if you have all that much space to make your installation work. Whoa. Here we go. So, looking over here, I'm gonna have more than enough room. So that should be alright. So you draw your line right down here, and then you make your little notches at the point where you want to install your actual numbers. So what we've done over here is I just screwed in the fasteners, and I will not be using these here anchors because I'm just going into wood out there. So no need to make a bigger hole. So if I make a mistake, then I can actually correct somehow, which I'm hoping I don't make. So here's what it looks like. I did the first one. I don't know if you can see that up there. There it is, right on the line. So both of the fasteners are just going to go and sit right on top of that line. So basically what you do is you take your number and you kind of poke your hole within your measurements, and then that's where you're going to drill your hole, and then you kind of just tap it in the rest of the way. I, of course, didn't tap it in all the way because I want to leave some space to run my wires. And so, yeah, come back when we do the rest of them. Alright, so this is the final product. You want to make sure that you're square so that people don't drive around and say this guy can't see anything because you just installed everything crooked. So there you go. And we're square, kind of, sort of. A little off from number 3 here, but I don't think anybody can really notice it. And then you make sure to erase your dry eraser marks. And then you can start routing your wires and looking for your power source. So when you finish, this is the final product. Now you have to make sure to tuck in your wires, put some loom over them to make sure that you isolate them. And I just ran them nicely up above and put some clips and kind of just fastened my relay up there and ran my wire behind the house covering and just plugged it in right there. Here's the final product.